let's do an unboxing.
So what's going on, YouTube? Coming back with another video. This one's a little bit different. We haven't done an unboxing video yet. And I'm also trying to test out the Lark for just like kind of vlogging stuff. No car related stuff. Well, it's car related, but not driving. Today, we're gonna do an unboxing on some stuff that we have to make the Evo go faster. Let's go ahead and just jump right into it, man. About a couple of months ago, and pretty much since I own the Evo, just looking at stuff to make the Evo faster. It's a fun car. It's like a big go-kart, but it needs just a little bit more speed, just like a hair more. And the only way for me to do that right now, since it has a built motor, built transfer case, everything is kind of built, is to swap out the turbo fuel system. That's pretty much it that's left stock on this car. The car currently has a motor, like I said, like built top and bottom end, some aftermarket piping, a cop kit. Oh, and it's on a Link G4. I think it's a G4 Plus or a G4X. I can't remember. The car just doesn't have anything to actually make power. I haven't really heard anything bad about the setup that I went with. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start just unpacking this box. You can already see some goodies at the top. So we can go ahead and start with fueling. And I went ahead and did some FIC 1200 injectors, the high impedance variant. Obviously, these just kind of work better. The Evo stock has low impedance injectors, and I don't know the difference. I think it's just something with the pulse width and how the signal gets to the injector to fire the pulses. High impedance gives you like a better response. It just makes it easier for tuning. I also went with 1200s because I'm not really looking for huge power. The goal for this car is minimum 450. Like I think 450 will be a very good benchmark, I guess. That'll probably be 150 more than what it is doing right now. And then, sheesh, y'all seen that wasp? What the fuck? But anyway, the 1200 should be good enough for 450. In addition to FIC being a decent brand. Next, we went ahead and went with an AEM pump. Now, this is probably like my main concern, my main issue. I've been doing a lot of research, and everybody likes the bread and butter, the Walbro 255 or the 450 if you're going for big power. This, ooh, sheesh, you seen that? This I think is a good middle ground. It has a little bit more flow than a Walbro 255, but it still fits in the basket, which is my main concern. I don't want to have to modify the Evo 8 basket because I'm not the biggest fan of hacking up, you know, OEM stuff. I just don't like hacking up a car. I really like stress that. Like even with the Mustang that I have right here, whenever I go to upgraded pumps, I'm gonna upgrade to just a GT500 basket because I'm not looking for crazy power, but that's a story from another time. But AM 340 pump flows a little bit more than a 255. I think even more than probably like a hair more than a 255 that's modified. Leaf valve punched out. And it still fits in the pump. I mean the basket valve modification. And I think the connector is just the same connector that you can use stock. So this should literally just drop in, plug in all the wires and stuff, and then just go from there. So that's the reasoning behind this. And this is the I think the AEM 1200. This is a green pump. Like I said, it's like the same packaging as a 255, and it comes with a bunch of shit that you can use. I'm gonna end up using I got this kit from, I think most of these parts are from STM. I'm gonna end up using the Walbro 255 sock because the 340 socks is a different style and it has trouble fitting in our stock pump basket. So yeah, definitely gonna be using that. And then that should pretty much be it for this. This is another like super important piece. This is only like $20, but you're gonna need this to run any high impedance injectors, like any injector at all. These aren't injector specific. So if we look in my dirty engine bay, back here is the fuel pump relay and injector resistor like block. You can look down there, there's like a big silver piece, and that's the resistor for the injectors. Now, I talked about the stock injectors being low impedance, so there's a resistor obviously to kind of, I'm not like an electrical expert, but I think the resistor is supposed to slow down the pulse width. You're gonna need this to kind of like ground or negate that resistor block so you can get enough or the faster pulses to the high impedance injectors. Now, like I said, don't quote me on that because I'm not an electrical engineer or anything like that. I know very basic stuff, enough to get me by. So, gonna be needed for that. And then this is pretty much our fuel setup. In addition to this, I'm also gonna be running the stock fuel pump regulator. And what's not pictured here is a feed line for the rail that I have. So I already have an AEM fuel rail. It came with the car. I don't know why it ever got upgraded, but I have it nevertheless. It should help with the flow a little bit, but in addition to that, I'm gonna be installing a Dash 6 feed line from STM. I talked with my tuner and he specifically mentioned that the feed line for these Evos is just too restrictive. So if I at least upgrade that part, I'm hoping that I'll be able to feed the rail enough, even with the 340 and the 1200s, that I won't have to stress out the system. I'm also not gonna be upgrading the wiring. Now that part, I'm a little iffy on. I know with the 450s, people upgrade at least the gauge of the wire, but I also like the high-low voltage that is integrated with the stock wiring. I gotta look more into trying to keep the high-low voltage system with the rewire. I know generally you need just a Hobbs switch that's gonna switch off of whatever PSI your turbo is at or whatever manifold pressure you're seeing at that time. And once you start seeing like positive or like 5%, 5 PSI, maybe 10% PSI, you'll kick the pump onto high voltage, high amperage, whatever, and it'll feed more. But like I said, I have to look more into it because it's just the whole system that like I said, I don't want to have to do with 1200s resistor delete, 340 stock wiring, stock fuel pressure regulator, which should be good for up to 600, a feed line. I already have the AEM fuel rail, so hopefully that's enough. Now let's go ahead and move this off to the side right here and pull out what's really gonna be getting us to that magic number. And that's gonna be our Gennari 57 mil turbo. We pull this out. Look at how beautiful this thing looks. Get out, look at it. Ooh, look at it. So like I said, this is the 57 mil, and this specific one has the, if you look at the compressor, it has the LE wheel design, which is, I think, new for 2025. I think he literally just upgraded the wheel design in general to this new design, and it's supposed to flow a little bit more, which should help us get more power. That was like one of my reasons for wanting this turbo over like a FP turbo. You can see this is MHI twin scroll stock frame. Nothing too crazy, no T3, no T4, like nothing, no V-band, none of that. Literally just a take that off, put this on style of turbo. I guess the reason to upgrade this, well, for our Gennari versus a FP, money. This turbo is cheaper than a FP red, FP black. I think it's a similar price to the FP green, but it flows more than the FP red and the FP green. And that's because it's a 57 millimeter versus I think a 54 millimeter for the FP red. You get more flow for less price. Still can mount up to the MHI manifolds, which means you don't have to do a complete hot side kit or cold, well, complete turbo kit, because you're gonna have to replace the hot side and the cold side. And then what makes it even better is you also get an install kit for, you know, extra couple bucks, which gives you a braided oil line, new water pipes, and then you get new hardware for all of that. So that's for the braided line, some stuff for just some banjo bolts for all the other stuff. And then I think maybe new bolts just in case you have like a, what was it called? Exhaust cover, like for Evos. I think that's what that is. I don't know. You also get these. Now this is something that I need for sure. I'm not really a fan of the 12-point bolts that I have right now, like on the actual exhaust manifold and on the manifold to turbo, like housing right here. So it gives you a bunch of stainless stuff, and then you actually get 6 like hex bolts, which is just way better. Just trust me, it's just way better. Might not look the best, but I like function. Did a Evo 9 J pipe, which is what you're gonna need if you have a Evo 8. I think the J pipe ends right here for those Evos, and then on the 9s and maybe this one, I'll measure it or compare the two when I actually take it off. They're a little bit longer, give you a better angle to the actual ETS intercooler. Now, I'm hoping for my case that is a 8 J pipe, because mine kind of fits wonky on my ETS intercooler, so I'm hoping this is gonna fix that issue. Pretty much it. There's nothing really else. He gives you some stickers and then some gaskets for this. Oh no, gasket for this. There should be 2 new gaskets for the oil drain line, gasket for the manifold, and then a gasket for the O2 sensor. So that's pretty much it. Up close look at it. Ooh, that exhaust housing. And then I went with the 18 PSI internal wastegate. Like I said, I'm not looking for crazy power. So if I was looking for crazy power, I'll probably get the 26 PSI Turbo Smart wastegate. It has like dual ports, so it should be better for holding boost. And then obviously the minimum that you're running is 26 PSI. So I want to be able to run 93 if I, get tired of E85 or I want to do a road trip like down to Tennessee like I did last time. So I wanted that option. 18 PSI should be good. I'm hoping to get like 25, maybe 30 or close to 30 when everything is all said and done, and then, enjoy the car for what it is right now. Looks like today was actually the perfect day to go ahead and record this, because the stuff that I ordered actually came in. STM heat shield. I just wanted to clean that up because I'm tired of opening up the engine bay and seeing like the rusty manifold. So it is what it is. STM branded fuel pressure sensor. Yep. So hopefully that just goes right there. Looks pretty nice. Oh shit. IAT sensor. I think this is a hex connection, but gotta unscrew that, tie this in. I'm actually thinking about going ahead and doing that right now, since I don't think it really changes anything since I'm already tuned on speed density. New spark plugs, obviously, because you want better spark plugs. These are 1 step colder, and I've had like pretty good. I haven't had any issues with these, so been using these. They're kind of cheap, so can replace these pretty easy. And then this is the connectors. My connectors, swivel connector, and then I think the straight connector for dual line fitting that's right there. You're gonna have to use this to go from the stock connection to the actual AN connection on top. And I think that's pretty much it. Oh, and here's the connection for right there. Convert that to convert that into AN. Literally like the perfect day to go ahead and do this, because I was expecting all this shit to come here Saturday. It's Thursday, and everything's here. So maybe USPS was working overtime to go ahead and get my stuff all over here. I guess the last thing I'll talk about or say about this is just fingers crossed. The car runs phenomenal. Everything just kind of works out nice. We won't have to upgrade to an aftermarket regulator or upgrade the fuel pump wiring harness or anything, just anything crazy. Hopefully it just all works out very well and we can just enjoy the car even more than we already do. Obviously we're going to do a walkthrough or tutorial on installing all these parts with my boy Lucky Donnie, because he reached out to me, he wants to learn. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see y'all in the next one.